If you're struggling with skin flare-ups, low mood, brain fog, or getting sick all the time, and you find yourself drinking more caffeine or using more creams, piling up on supplements, wait. These could all be signs that your gut needs some care. If you're new around here, I'm Dr. Rupy. I'm a medical doctor and nutritionist, and it's my mission to help you improve your health with food and lifestyle medicine. This is your gut. It starts at your mouth and ends at your anus. Like this slinky, your gut moves in waves and handles all the basics, breaking down food, absorbing nutrients, and getting rid of waste. Inside this slinky-like tube lives an entire universe, trillions of microbes, bacteria, fungi, even viruses, and they make up what's known as your gut microbiota. Together, your gut microbes act almost like an extra organ. They take what you eat and they turn it into chemical messages that act in the gut, but they also travel around your body. They go to your brain, they influence your mood and focus, they go to your skin, they even go to your lungs. So what happens in your gut doesn't actually stay in your gut. This is why whenever I'm in clinic as a doctor and I see someone who has seemingly unrelated symptoms to typical digestive complaints, I'm actually always thinking, could this be gut related? Whether that is skin issues like eczema, acne, psoriasis, changes in your mood, feeling low, brain fog, poor focus, unusual fatigue, these can all be influenced by gut health. It doesn't actually require an expensive, fancy gut test. It's something that's free. Many of us do it every single day. It's your poo. Think of it as your gut's daily progress report. You don't need to analyze it like a scientist, but the key is knowing what is normal for you, how often you go, what it looks like. This could be the first indicator that something's going slightly awry with your gut. Most changes are short term. They could be from travel, stress, a meal that you've had. It could just be a gentle nudge to you to drink a bit more water and eat more fiber. But if you notice changes that last for more than a few weeks, or you notice red flag signs like blood, very dark stool, or unexplained weight loss, and the other red flags that I've linked down below, that's when it's time to speak to your doctor immediately. Now, if you've noticed some of the signs and symptoms I've mentioned earlier, the first thing is not to panic. Many people go extreme. They look at something like a juice cleanse or a detox online. That is not what you want to be doing in the first instance. The best place to start is actually by giving your gut a break from the things that quietly wear it down over time. Inside your gut, you have something called the gut barrier. It's the first point of contact with anything you eat, including toxins and pesticides in food and alcohol. There used to be this idea that some amount of alcohol was actually good for us. But actually, I think this is largely untrue. Don't worry, it's non-alcoholic. I actually think we should be avoiding alcohol as much as possible. It throws off the harmony of your gut microbes. It can damage this protective layer in your gut, and it can lead to what people call leaky gut and more inflammation. So look, if you do drink, try and have regular alcohol-free days, especially if you have any symptoms, or switch to kombucha. It's also good to take a break from ultra-processed foods. These are foods that have been through a lot of processing. One of the worst offenders are industrial breads, as well as wraps, protein snack bars, meal replacement shakes, and pre-made salad dressings. They all have tons of sugars, emulsifiers, and artificial sweeteners. They tend to be low in fiber, all of which can disrupt the harmony of those microbes in your gut. I get it, these are super convenient and they can be tasty, but we definitely don't want to be eating these every day. And it's not just what we eat. Excessive use of medications can also impact your gut health. Antibiotics, for example, are life-saving when needed, but they indiscriminately clear out a lot of your microbes, particularly from the gut, and taking them repeatedly or without a plan to support your gut during and afterwards is a recipe potentially for disaster. And it's not just antibiotics. Long-term use of things like ibuprofen, aspirin, and even antacids irritate the gut lining as well. So if you find yourself using these regularly, question whether you actually need them and ensure that you check in with your doctor to find alternatives or whether you can drop them entirely. And talking of things that you should drop entirely, detox trends. Remember, your gut isn't a dirty house that needs scrubbing out. Your body already has detoxification organs that do that for you. Your kidneys, your liver, and even your skin. But that hasn't stopped social media from pushing gut resets, juice cleansers, or more recently, castor oil patches claiming to cleanse your insides. Honestly, there's really little science to back any of these practices up. Your gut does not need detoxing. It needs to be fed the right way. So let's get practical. One of the easiest ways to feed your gut microbes is by eating BBGs every day. That's for beans, berries, greens, and seeds. These 4 categories of foods are packed with fiber, polyphenols, and plant diversity. These are 3 things that your gut absolutely thrives on. Beans, things like black beans, even chickpeas, lentils, throw them into soups, salads, casseroles. At any opportunity, you can always have more beans in your diet. Berries, you can get these fresh or frozen, throw them into porridges, yogurts, or simply have them on their own with a bit of dark chocolate. It's a great dessert. Greens, spinach, kale, arugula for our American friends, or rocket. I'm always thinking, can I add greens to the side of my lunch or dinner and breakfast as well? Seeds and nuts, flax, walnut, chia, sunflower, whatever seeds and nuts you can get, sprinkle them onto salads, top your curries and casseroles with them, have them on their own as a snack. There's always an opportunity where you can enjoy their texture and those glorious fats. The issue is we just don't eat enough of these ingredients. But I have a tip for you. Write it down, stick them on your fridge. BBGs are your gut health foundation. Get them in your diet every single day. Once you have your foundation, you can graduate to fermented foods. These are things like kefir and natural yogurt, which are fairly easy to get into your diet, be it at breakfast or as a snack. Krauts, things like beet kraut, sauerkraut with white cabbage. These are things that you can fold into salads or have on the side of your meal. And kimchi is like a fiery version of kraut. What these all have are extra microbes that act almost like reinforcements to your existing gut community. But it's not just about what's on your plate. How and when you eat also makes a big difference. You see, your body digests best when it's in a calm state. So taking a moment to slow down before eating is actually one of the most overlooked habits for gut health. So before your next meal, try this. Pause and take 3 deep belly breaths. It switches your body into rest and digest mode from fight and flight. Another thing about our gut is that just like us, it gets up in the morning, it works throughout the day, and it tries to go to sleep at a reasonable bedtime. If I was to come into your bedroom in the middle of the night and shake you awake and get you to do some work, you'd probably feel pretty groggy. But it's the same thing with our gut microbes. They work all day long and they don't really want to be disturbed at night. So wherever you can, try to finish eating 2 to 3 hours before you go to sleep. It can improve digestion, reduce the chances of reflux, and it also supports your natural gut rhythms. Before me and my team worked on this video, we asked you on Instagram for your gut health questions. Let's dig into a few we haven't covered yet. Does the gut microbiome change with age? Yes, it does. As we age, our gut diversity, which is the different population of microbes in our digestive tract, tends to decline, but your lifestyle and diet will still have a huge supporting impact. Doing the things that we just talked about, like getting BBGs into your diet and managing stress, can all keep your gut thriving. How can you support your gut after antibiotics? My focus is on rebuilding with high fiber foods, lots of diverse plant-based, colorful ingredients, and even things like fermented foods can all help. There is some emerging evidence around specific strains that could be beneficial after certain antibiotics, and we'll link to those UK-based guidelines in the caption down below. What's better for your gut? Full fat yogurt or 0% fat? I actually really like this question because I think you'll find the answer somewhat surprising. I actually don't suggest going for 0% fat-free yogurt. Full fat tends to have more beneficial fats that are actually good for your gut. They tend to be less processed and they tend to have much less sugar in as well. My preference is for you to have whole foods as much as possible, and I believe that the full fat yogurts are actually something that we should be enjoying more of. One thing I would definitely watch out for is added sugars in flavored yogurts. I tend to flavor my own yogurts with berries and seeds and whatever else that I find in my cupboards that are whole food based. Can daily probiotic supplements actually help? There is very little evidence for daily supplementation with probiotics. I'm a big fan of getting whole food probiotics in the diet, like kefir and kimchi, etc. But actually, the daily pills that are marketed for foundational health, I think are pretty weak when it comes to the evidence. Now, a caveat is that there are some strains that have been proven to have benefits for specific conditions. And again, we'll link to those in the caption down below. They can be benefits for IBS or antibiotic associated issues, but for general use, I really don't think they're worth your money. What should I do to repair my gut after I've indulged either with alcohol or poor food? The good news is that your gut actually replenishes itself really quickly. So as long as you give it a rest and you input the right ingredients that we've talked about, your gut has a natural way of looking after itself. If you have a question that we haven't got to, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. And if you're hooked on this topic and you want to hear about what a gut healthy day looks like in practice, I'd highly recommend you check out this podcast episode with gut health expert Dr. James Kinross on the Doctor's Kitchen podcast. You can check it out right here. Oh, it's not sticking.